Hi, this is Brandon with Precision Defensive Solutions, and I'm here with
Emmanuel Atolano.
Yeah. So a while back, Manny said, "Hey," he said, "why don't we do a little content?" And he has volunteered to take a face full of POM. So how do you feel about that?
Well, it's not my first time. I've had pepper spray exposure 2 times before. Once in the Marine Corps and once in the Coast Guard, both for qualification purposes. So I know what I'm getting into. Doing it of my own volition. No one's coercing me to do it. But I understand the value of the training we're doing and the demonstration that we're going to put on for the students today.
Yeah, because we are doing this during class. And the students that have come today, they're actually going to go home with a POM, as a result of this. But yeah, I've tried to talk you out of this a couple of times. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to film it in a couple spots, and so we're going to catch up with you later.
Starting to feel it in my eyes. It's slowly starting to pick up intensity. Starting to build up even more. Oh yeah.
Now he's getting.
It's setting in now. At this point, it's getting really hard to open my eyes voluntarily. Oh, that's hurting now. Ooh. Like at this point, if I was trying to attack you, it would be over. At the initial spray, the contact, there would probably be about 5 seconds where I would continue on. But definitely by this point, I'm done. I'd be leaving, for sure.
How about some water? You're taking it very
Well,
well.
yeah, no, let's let the effects set in. Now I'm starting to feel like the tear ducts, the tears are starting to come. Oh yeah.
Oh, I know that. I know.
The irritation in my it's all in my eyeballs now. I'm starting to feel it like coming down in my nose. My nose is starting to drain a lot more, which means it's draining into my throat, which means it's irritating my throat, getting harder to talk. I can momentarily open my eyes. Oh. The intensity of the burn is increasing quite a bit in my eyeballs. Starting to feel it in my mouth, on my lips. The skin around my eyes quite a bit.
So everybody notice how red he's turning.
Like if I was trying to do something right now, go somewhere, I'd be pretty disoriented. If I needed to do something, I would have to force my eyes open.
You said the cold makes it worse, right?
No, it's better.
Makes it better?
It makes it, yeah, it's
Pores
easier.
aren't open up as much.
Yep. All right, let's decontaminate.
All right, yeah, bring the water over.
Okay, so we are back, and we're a few days later, but let's talk a little bit about how you felt during that. And I mean, it was cold outside. We had a ton of water and had people watching.
Yeah.
But this is quite an experience. So this is the first time that I've ever done this live. I've seen it done, but first time we've ever done it as a demo. And so let's talk a little bit about how you were feeling. You articulated it pretty well as you were going through it, but let's kind of revisit that and get a little into the weeds a little bit.
Sure. Like you said, I was articulating kind of what I was feeling as I was going through it. And in fact, my son was watching, and afterwards he said, "I'm surprised at how calm you were just kind of talking through." Well, the reality is I've been sprayed more than once, so I knew what I was getting into. And I guess I just have a strong threshold for pain. I know how to fight through it. So I'm glad I was able to kind of articulate to the audience who was watching there, so that they could learn, because ultimately that's what this was about. It was a learning experience to teach them and for everybody else who's going to be watching the video.
Right. Yeah. And see that's what we try to do. I mean, you as a trainer, me as a trainer, I think that's all our ultimate goal is educating people on how to protect themselves in different levels. And we can talk about different things all the time, but when we actually demo something like that and they see the effect, it changes the outlook a little bit, I think.
Sure.
So, like you said in the intro, you've been sprayed before, and that was Saber Red, right?
Yes.
So, tell me a little bit about what your feeling was versus Saber Red to POM.
Sure. So with Saber Red, the other times that I was sprayed, it was for qualifications in the military. And if you've ever been through that, I know a bunch of you have, if you're veterans or law enforcement. The procedure usually goes, you get sprayed, and it's usually you get drenched. And then you have to perform a task afterwards, whether you're going through a gauntlet, fighting your way through, striking, grappling, whatever the case may be. Or in my case, when I did it for a law enforcement qualification, I had to force a subject into compliance while drawing my gun, which meant I had to force my eyeball open, draw my gun, and track the subject while they were moving and issue commands and force them to comply. So that's what I was dealing with beforehand. I was able to do it. It was painful. With Saber Red, a lot of burning, if you've ever been sprayed before, or if you ever handled hot peppers, rubbed your eyes. It's that, just very, very intense.
Okay.
So just a lot of burning. It's difficult to open your eyes without having to kind of like force your eye open. Very uncomfortable. It gets into your mucous membranes. It makes you snot, that runs down into your throat, makes you cough, that sort of thing. Now the difference this time around with POM, I think there was kind of an added element there. I don't know what the folks over at POM are doing with that recipe, but it was definitely at a whole nother level. There was the burning both in the mucous membranes in the eyes and on the skin. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed this time around is that I felt a very, very intense gritty feeling on the surface of my eye, to the point where I did not want to open my eyes. Before, I could force it open. This time, I had no desire to do that at all. There were a few times where I thought about wanting to do it, and I stopped myself. It was that painful. It felt like somebody had crushed up glass and was grinding it into the surface of my eye.
Wow, that's kind of interesting, because the most intense exposure I got was off my finger when I rubbed it in my eye when I sprayed it one time, and yeah, I mean, my eyes swelled up, and it was intense. It took undiluted Dawn dish soap to get that to stop. So it's interesting that you describe it that way, because I would agree with that.
Well, one thing I will add too is that my previous 2 exposures, like I said, I got drenched. They sprayed right across the eyebrows and usually like in a T pattern, so it ran down into my eyes, and I got pretty good exposure. With this one, I don't know if it was a wind or if you end up watching the video, they ended up shooting a little high, so I did get some droplets across like the forehead, and they did make their way down. So I did get an exposure, but it was less than what I had before, and still with less exposure, it was still way more debilitating.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, because I mean, most with less, you're going to have a significant difference in reaction, and your reaction was pretty strong. So
Yeah.
the one thing I will say is, again, I know we've said this off camera, and I'll say this categorically: the fact that you were able to articulate your way through that for like 3 minutes is pretty impressive. So that does speak to your pain tolerance. Even my father-in-law watched the video, and he's like, "Oh, I thought it would have much more of a reaction than that." And I'm like, "With most people, it would." But and I said that it definitely is a strong solution, and this is why we recommend POM. So let's talk about that too, because you've been carrying Saber Red.
Yes.
Then Monday night you come into karate, and or even Saturday morning, you said you were going to switch.
Yes.
Yeah, just from that little bit of exposure. So, I mean, everybody, let me tell you, you can go out and try it if you want to try it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure you want to.
I don't recommend it. Doing it on your own. We're both, instructors. This is kind of our wheelhouse. I'm experienced in having exposures. We had people like in the background ready to take care of me. So I don't recommend that you do it.
Yep.
If you do it on your own without our endorsement.
Yeah, 100%.
But again, it's a free country. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's not one of those things that you want to go out in the backyard and kind of hold my beer type thing and see what happens, because you're going to find out what happens.
Yep.
And if you don't decontaminate and you don't clean your eyes out well, the person that sprayed Manny was actually an ophthalmologist. And after we came in, we were talking about it a little bit, and she said she felt as though that if it prolonged exposure could cause permanent dry eye. If it didn't get washed out properly, but she was speaking from a thought and maybe a theory more than experience. But I think that there's some value in that too. I've never seen it ever have permanent lasting effect to somebody. I don't think there's anything on record of that. But I think it's because everybody understands the importance of getting the decontamination as quickly as possible. So,
Sure. Sure, and I think that's a good thing to talk about, touch on quickly, is decontamination. On previous exposures, and if you've had it done in the military or in law enforcement setting, the way I've always seen it done is just running water initially, and that works to a certain point. Cool water, it works, or it feels a lot better. Running water, because you want it to flush away. And that does work to a certain point. But this time around, I actually tried some decontamination wipes. I've never seen very consistent reviews on any of them. It's always been kind of 50-50. But I decided to kind of take the opportunity to try them out. The particular ones that I tried, I got on Amazon, and I can say that they did work. Now, I think the reason that a lot of people say they don't work is I think a lot of people are not following the instructions. There are very specific instructions. It's not just wipe it off and done. There is a procedure. It takes several wipes. First, these particular wipes, it instructs you to wipe it off first, and then afterwards lay it across your eyes and let it sit. And it says specifically it takes 10 to 15 minutes for it to start to work. Now, I think people are expecting an immediate result, and that's not going to happen. It's just not. So I followed the procedure when I did it, and after, for me, probably about 5 minutes, I started to feel it subside. And probably about 10 minutes later is when I was pretty much good.
Okay.
So if you're going to use them, make sure you follow the directions. Read the directions beforehand and be prepared, know the procedure.
Well, and I think that's a good point, because anything first aid wise, you know, a lot of people say, well, it's like a Band-Aid, just use it like a Band-Aid, and it's not always like that.
Good point.
Yeah, so definitely read the instructions and use it properly, know how to use them. This is not something that you just want to screw around with and see what happens, because it can be bad. It can be bad. And you definitely want to have people that know what they're doing to help do that. So, well, I appreciate you doing it. You're a braver soul than I. I'll say that.
It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so guys, go out, check out POM. You can check them out at pomindustries.com. There'll be a link in the description. Definitely check them out. We definitely always have some on hand too, because we get them directly through POM. Super great people. Alex and his wife are super great people. They care about you, and that's why they're doing this. And that's a great reason to support the company too, other than just the product being very, very good. So take care, everybody. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon.